Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 1972. That movie is Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, which, not only is it a cool title, it's also a very good lesson to live by. Children should not, in fact, play with dead things. Comes off as kind of creepy. Now, I really wish I could tell you anything else about this movie outside of the absolutely amazing title. The only other thing I know is that this movie was directed by a man named Bob Clark. Now, Bob Clark has a very interesting filmography. He has done films such as Porky's, which is a modern-day classic, A Christmas Story, which has quickly become one of the greatest holiday films of all time, and the first two Baby Geniuses movies, which I've heard nothing but terrible things about, and I still have not bothered to watch myself. Now, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things is one of Bob Clark's earliest films. I have no idea if this thing is going to be any good at all. The very fact that his friggin' filmography runs the fucking gamut from Porky's and A Christmas Story to Baby Geniuses, this thing honestly could be anywhere from absolutely amazing to mind-bendingly shit. I have no earthly clue. The only way I'm going to find out, guys, if this thing is any good at all, is if I shut up and I push play. And I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. I will say this, guys. I am really liking the movie so far. We have been introduced to our core cast of characters. All of them are interesting, and the dialogue is sharp and witty. I honestly am just waiting for the plot to kick in, but at least I know that when it does, we do have a rather interesting cast of characters to watch. Alright, I got a bit of a dumb question. Exactly how much dried unborn infant's blood does Alan have in that fucking envelope that he's going to walk around and I guess fucking anoint every single one of these graves? I mean, you would almost think that finding just a little bit of dried unborn infant's blood would be, sort of difficult to find. He seems to have a rather overstuffed envelope full. Did he make a stop at a fucking abortion clinic before coming to this island? Or, you know what, I really think it's probably best I just not think about that and just let the movie flow. So far, though, the movie is really good. I am absolutely digging this. You know, guys, I do find it a little bit odd that this movie is supposed to be like a zombie film. We are an hour into this 90-minute movie. We still haven't seen a single zombie. We've seen a whole lot of corpses, but we haven't seen any zombies yet. This movie is incredibly fascinating, and I'm really digging it. However, though, it's very weird to see a zombie film with such an odd lack of zombies. You know what I mean? Wait a minute, wait. So if this house had like a back patio door that could be easily opened by zombies with almost no effort, then why did they have to break through a boarded up window and open the front door at the start of the movie? I'm sorry, guys. This right here is like the first time I'm seeing this back fucking patio, door which the zombies broke through with literally zero effort. It really makes me wonder why the hell they had to break into this house in the first place if this fucking door was there the whole time. I understand, guys, that that's trivial and stupid to think about, but goddammit, it kind of bugs me a little bit. Well, guys, that was Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, and the movie ends with a bunch of our zombies getting on the boat, I guess, to continue their zombie merriment and shenanigans in the mainland. That is awesome. Let me shut that off. Okay, so, man, what to say about this movie? Well, I guess I should mention, and I know I said this as the movie was going, but I kind of feel that this is worth mentioning. This movie touted itself as a zombie film. And when you think zombie films, you normally think something which has wall-to-wall zombies for 90 minutes. And if that is the kind of movie you are looking for, this is not the movie for you. The zombies, honest to God, do not show up until the last about 20 minutes of the movie or so. However, though, I will say that what is there for that first hour is really fascinating, and that has to do with the writing, you see, because the first hour would have been awful if we had characters who weren't charming in some way. Damn near every character has got some kind of a quirk, and it keeps them interesting, and it makes you want to watch more, which is what I really loved. And it wasn't until I looked at how far we were in the movie, I noticed that we were an hour in, and we hadn't even seen a fucking zombie yet. I was that completely and totally immersed in the characters and what they were doing. Now, the basic plot, without going into a lot of detail, is a director and his theater troupe go to this island, which happens to have a cemetery, and the director wants to do this. He wants to do this like ceremony involving a dead body. He has this ancient grimoire that he's able to conjure up these spells, and he wants to do some kind of like a resurrection. He wants to do some kind of like a resurrection spell just because. Now, of course, before we get to that, he does pull a prank on his whole troupe, which leads to the one thing we have, which is closest to a zombie moment, as two other members of the theater troupe are on the island and in zombie makeup. It is really cool stuff. And the ceremony happens, and they think nothing happened. And so they bring the corpse into the house, which is on the island, and they begin to essentially like fuck around with this corpse. At least the director and one or two other people, they begin to really screw with this corpse. And it's basically just everybody fucking around on the island for an hour, and then the zombies show up. And it is a very well-written movie. I absolutely loved the way that this thing was done. And if you've watched A Christmas Story, you've watched Porky's, you've seen the stuff that Bob and Clark does, at least the good stuff that Bob Clark does, you know that he knows how to write. You know that he knows how to direct. So honestly, I would have been shocked if the writing here was complete shit. So I will say that it feels a little bit iffy having a zombie movie and no zombies for 2/3 of it, but still, that is totally fine. What is here is awesome as long as you're willing to kind of sort of go along with the story. I will say the pacing is a little bit slow across that first hour. They could probably have done it in about 40 minutes. There really does feel like there's about 20 minutes of filler in there. But still, it's not terrible. It seriously, guys, is good enough to watch, all right? And I think part of what makes it work is not only the fact that the characters are written this well, but it's also the fact that the actors are turning in a pretty decent performance. I'm not saying that any of them were going to be up for Oscars or any of that shit. No, nothing here is great. What is here, honestly, is kind of cheesy and kind of corny, and for a zombie film, that works wonders, because we already have the goofy concept of, oh my god, zombies, even if it's only for about 20 minutes. So you don't want actors who are playing shit ultra serious, because you can't take zombies seriously anyways. The very fact that the cast here all seem to be having a whole lot of fun on set, and everybody was really getting into character, it really works out. And a lot of them were able to take the personality quirks of all these characters, and they were able to just run with it, and it's amazing. The cast here did a great job. I absolutely loved what I saw here in terms of acting. Special effects. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this movie is a very low budget affair. But about 90% of the zombie makeup? Holy shit, about 90% of it is fucking amazing. I say about 90% because there are a couple instances where you will see a zombie, and instead of having zombie makeup, it's literally just a rubber mask that's sagging, and you can actually see the edge of the mask underneath because they didn't bother to glue it down or anything. But that is literally, out of the big pack of zombies we see, that's maybe 3 zombies out of probably about 35, 40 zombies. So everything else is done really, really well, as they put just tons and tons of detail into aging them and rotting away the flesh, and it all looks amazing. And I should mention that the star of this film, Alan. Let me try to find his name on the back here. It's Alan Ormsby, whose character is also named Alan. I will mention that. I will talk about that in just a sec. That was one lazy bit of writing I found. But anyway, Alan Ormsby is the guy who did special effects in this movie. And considering the low budget, oh my god, he turned in some fantastic shit. This was awesomely done. Now, I just mentioned a little bit of lazy writing there. Most of our cast basically are, I guess, playing themselves because our star, Alan fucking Ormsby, his character's name in this movie is Alan. Almost every one of our stars basically they basically are just going by their first names in the movie. So let me just look at the cast here, because I know for a fact that we had Alan, we had Val, we had Jeffrey, we had Anya, and so on, so on. There's maybe out of all the named characters, there's probably about 5 of them where the actor maybe 4 or 5, where the actor doesn't share a name with the character that they are playing. And I've always found that kind of writing to be incredibly lazy to me. Unless, honestly, they are playing them fucking selves, at which point that's fine. But when you have a film like this, you have a fucking zombie film, and everybody just happens to share a name with the character that they are playing, to me that always comes off as kind of lazy and kind of stupid. But oh well, it's minor, it's nothing. And honestly, you probably wouldn't even know unless you looked at a cast list. I looked at a cast list before I started watching, so that's how I knew that. Sound. Oh boy. There are a couple moments where the sound mix is a little bit iffy. It's kind of, where you basically you'll basically hear the sound mix, and certain actors are mixed a little bit more quiet than others because they apparently were shooting with only one mic, and one actor is really far away from the mic. You can barely hear them. That honestly though doesn't happen too often. My big complaint when it comes to sound is the noise you hear when the zombies are on screen. So they took some, I'm going to assume they took some musical instruments, like string instruments, and they were making some really odd sounds, and instead of just playing those, they decided to play them backwards, and it sounds fucking lame. It really does. It sounds awful. And because this movie really doesn't have a whole lot of a score or a soundtrack, the only thing that we are left with is all of this backwards noise anytime that the zombies show up. There also are a couple of pieces of music, and what is there is really good. It's just, most of it is this backwards crap, and it doesn't sound right. Now, perhaps maybe if it was a bunch of instruments and it was trying to do some kind of eerie sounding piece, and then you played the whole thing backwards in order to make it sound even more eerie and creepy, you might have had something. But the very fact that it just sort of sounds like they took a fucking cello and they just did a quick little on the cello, or they did maybe a 3 or 4 note thing, and then they play that shit backwards, it sounds like crap, okay? And that really, guys, is my one big complaint with sound, is this horrendous noise we hear when the zombies show up. Instead of us hearing the zombies growling or moaning or doing any of the other shit that zombies are known to fucking do, we are treated to that, and it drowns out most of the traditional zombie noise, which you can still kind of hear. And if that honestly were cut from the movie, it would probably be a hell of a lot better. Unfortunately, it is there, and it may get really annoying, but good news, because the zombies are only in the last 20 minutes of the movie, at least you don't have to worry about dealing with that noise for too fucking long. So, I guess that is kind of sort of a positive there. Camera work. I do have to comment on camera work. Camera work is for the most part, really good. There are a couple of shots early on when our director and his theater troupe are wandering through the cemetery on this island and they're trying to get to the house, where the camera's like nestled in fucking trees. And you can tell that it's supposed to be like a stationary shot showing them. And then as they start walking towards them, the camera all of a sudden like jostles behind the fucking tree, or it like moves in kind of like a weird, fashion. Essentially, they left in camera movements that were probably not supposed to be in there. Now, I do have to stress that maybe happens 3 times over the course of the movie. All 3 times probably within the first half hour. So I'm really complaining about nothing here when all is said and done. However, though, it is something which is very noticeable, and if you know anything about cinematography, it's going to stand out. It's going to be noticeable, and it may bug you just slightly, because I know that it kind of sort of bothered me a little bit. Is there anything else to really talk about? Lighting in this movie is awesome. Again, considering the fact that it's a low-budget film, the lighting here is amazing. So when all is said and done, I'm able to recommend Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. To watch, most certainly. Not totally sure about buying. Now, there actually is a bit of good news, because this movie has been put on archive.org, and you can watch it there. I'm going to provide a link, so that way you guys can watch this movie for free. And if you really like it, then go right ahead and purchase like the Blu-ray or the DVD, and you'll get things like commentaries and alternate fucking cuts and music videos, documentaries. Then you can buy the DVD or the Blu-ray specifically for the bonus features. However, though, to just buy blind and if you've never seen it, if you don't know if this is worth buying, I really don't know. If you can find it for like less than $10, I'd say yes. I'd say fuck yeah, pick it up. It is a fantastic low-budget zombie film. Especially a great low-budget zombie film from the early 70s. It's awesome in that respect. If it costs more, I would say no. And considering the fact that there is a free option, you can totally watch it before you buy it, and if you really like it, then you can try to find a cheap copy on DVD or Blu-ray, and then you can add it into your personal collection. So yes, guys, I am going to provide a link to the movie in this video's description. Swing over there, and please, guys, watch it, because this one here is a very difficult one for me to just say, yes, go out and fucking watch it. Buy it now. I can totally say at least watch it, because it is certainly a fascinating movie. It's a really good movie. Just not sure if purchasing it would be decent. Again, it all kind of depends on how much the Blu-ray costs. And I wouldn't know, because Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things came off the Amazon wish list, and I'd love to tell you who sent it in, but I never got a message from the person who sent it, and they never sent a note with the they never sent a note with the Amazon invoice, so I have no idea. I have absolutely zero clue as to who sent this in. I don't know who, however, though, to that person, I say thank you. I've been curious about this movie for many, many years. I actually found out about the free option to watch this yesterday, which was long after you sent in the movie, so had I have known, I would just have watched it off of archive.org. But it is thanks to you that I do have a Blu-ray copy now, and this sucker is going to remain in my Blu-ray collection because I really did enjoy the movie. So once more, to whoever sent in this movie, I thank you. You're fucking awesome. I really wish I could give you a shout out, but you didn't give me anything to, shout out. I don't even have a name to affix to this one. So once more, to that person, I thank you. And to everyone else, if you're really curious about this movie, once more, I am going to put a link down in this video's description. Check it out. I can almost guarantee you that you are going to have a fun time. Now, I would love to say I'm going to go watch something else that is off my Blu-ray shelf, but I actually got something in the mail today. Yeah, I think it's time I do a little bit of binge fucking watching. My god, this thing here is gonna be a blast to fucking watch. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.